Welcome back to Easy English Talk podcast.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Easy English Talk podcast. It's so good to have you here today. Hey, Priya, how are you doing?
Hey, Ryan. I'm doing great, thank you. I had a busy morning, but I'm really happy to be here with you and our listeners.
That's wonderful to hear. I've been looking forward to this conversation all day. So before we begin, I want to ask our amazing listeners, where are you watching or listening from right now? And tell us, is this podcast helping you improve your English and grow as a person?
Yes, please share your thoughts in the comments. We really love hearing from you, and your feedback helps us create better episodes for everyone.
Absolutely. Today, we are discussing Don't Give Up on English.
This is such an important topic, Ryan. I think many learners feel this struggle deeply.
You're right. And if you chose this episode, it's probably because learning English feels hard right now. Maybe you've been studying for months or even years, but progress feels slow.
Exactly. And here's what we want you to know. By the end of this conversation, you'll understand why giving up is not the answer, and you'll have clear, practical ways to keep moving forward, even when it feels difficult.
So let's start with the real problem. Why do so many people want to give up on learning English?
I think the biggest reason is that progress feels invisible. You study every day, you practice, you try hard, but when you look at yourself, you don't see much change.
That's so true. It's like looking at a plant every single day. You water it, you give it sunlight, but you can't see it growing because the growth is so gradual.
Yes, and because you can't see the results quickly, your brain starts telling you that maybe you're not good enough or that English is just too hard for you.
And that feeling becomes even worse when you compare yourself to others, right?
Absolutely. You see someone speaking English fluently and you think they must be naturally talented. You forget that they also struggled, made mistakes, and spent years learning, just like you.
Comparison really is one of the biggest reasons people lose hope. They measure their beginning against someone else's middle or end.
Exactly. And another big problem is that people expect learning to be easy and fast. They want results in weeks, but language learning doesn't work that way.
Right. English is not like learning to ride a bike, where one day you suddenly can do it. It's more like building a house brick by brick, day by day.
And when people realize it takes time, they feel disappointed. They think something is wrong with them or with their method.
But nothing is wrong. The process is just longer than they expected, and that's completely normal.
Another problem is that people don't celebrate small wins. They only focus on what they can't do yet, not on what they've already learned.
That's a great point. If you only look at your mistakes, you'll always feel like you're failing, even when you're actually improving.
Yes, and this negative focus makes the journey feel heavy and discouraging instead of exciting and hopeful.
So now that we understand the problem, let's talk about solutions. How can someone keep going when they feel like giving up?
The first solution is to change the way you measure progress. Stop looking for big, dramatic changes and start noticing the small ones.
Can you give an example of what you mean?
Sure. Maybe last month you didn't understand a single sentence in an English video, but today you understood 3 or 4 sentences. That's progress.
I see. So even if you didn't understand the whole video, understanding a few sentences is still a step forward.
Exactly. Or maybe 6 months ago, you couldn't speak a single sentence without stopping to think, but now you can say 2 or 3 sentences smoothly. That's real growth.
So we need to train ourselves to see and appreciate these small improvements instead of ignoring them.
Yes, because small improvements add up over time. If you improve just 1% every day, in a year, you'll be much better than you are now.
That's a powerful way to think about it. Progress doesn't have to be fast, it just has to be consistent.
Exactly. And the second solution is to remember your why. Why did you start learning English in the first place?
That's such an important question. When things get hard, we forget the reason we began.
Yes, maybe you started because you wanted a better job, or because you wanted to travel, or because you wanted to connect with people from other countries.
And when you remember that reason, it gives you strength to keep going, even when the journey feels difficult.
Exactly. Your why is like a light in the dark. It reminds you that this struggle has meaning and purpose.
So if someone is feeling like giving up right now, they should write down their reason for learning English and read it every day.
Yes, that's a simple but very effective practice. It keeps your motivation alive.
Now, let's talk about another solution. What role does patience play in this process?
Patience is everything, Ryan. Learning a language is not a race, it's a journey, and every journey takes time.
But patience is hard, especially in a world where everything moves so fast. We want instant results.
I know, but we have to accept that some things in life simply cannot be rushed. You can't force a flower to bloom faster, and you can't force fluency to come sooner.
So patience means accepting that today you are where you are, and that's okay, because tomorrow you'll be a little bit better.
Exactly. And patience also means being kind to yourself when you make mistakes or when you feel slow.
That's really important. If you're always criticizing yourself, learning becomes painful instead of enjoyable.
Yes, and when something is painful, you naturally want to quit. But when you're patient and kind with yourself, learning becomes lighter and easier.
So self-compassion is not just a nice idea, it's actually necessary for long-term success.
Absolutely. Another solution is to focus on consistency, not perfection. You don't need to study for 5 hours a day to improve.
That's a relief to hear. So what does consistency look like?
Consistency means studying a little bit every day, even if it's just 10 or 15 minutes. It's better to practice every day for 10 minutes than to practice once a week for 2 hours.
Why is that?
Because your brain learns better through repetition and regular exposure. When you practice every day, even for a short time, your brain stays active and keeps building connections.
So it's not about how much time you spend, it's about showing up regularly.
Exactly. And when you build a daily habit, learning becomes part of your life instead of something extra you have to force yourself to do.
That makes the whole process feel easier and more natural.
Yes. And another solution is to stop comparing yourself to others and start comparing yourself to who you were yesterday.
That's a beautiful way to think about growth. Can you explain more?
Sure. When you compare yourself to others, you'll always find someone better, and that will make you feel bad. But when you compare yourself to your past self, you'll see how far you've come.
So the only competition is with yourself.
Exactly. Ask yourself, can I understand more today than I could last month? Can I speak more confidently now than I could 6 months ago?
And if the answer is yes, then you're winning, even if you're not fluent yet.
Exactly. Progress is progress, no matter how small it looks.
Now let's talk about something practical. How can someone make learning English more enjoyable so they don't feel like giving up?
Great question. The key is to connect English with things you already love. If you love movies, watch English movies. If you love music, listen to English songs.
So, instead of forcing yourself to study boring textbooks, you make learning fun by doing things you enjoy.
Yes, because when learning feels like fun, it doesn't feel like work. And when it doesn't feel like work, you'll want to keep doing it.
That's smart. What are some other ways to make learning enjoyable?
You can read English books about topics you care about, or you can follow English speakers on social media who talk about your interests.
So if someone loves cooking, they can watch English cooking videos and learn at the same time.
Exactly. Or if someone loves fitness, they can follow English fitness channels. The possibilities are endless.
This way, you're not just learning English, you're also learning about things you love, which makes the time feel valuable.
Yes, and when time feels valuable, you're more likely to keep showing up.
Another thing I want to talk about is the power of community. How does having support help someone not give up?
Community is so important, Ryan. When you're learning alone, it's easy to feel isolated and lose motivation.
But when you have others around you who are also learning, you feel supported and understood.
Exactly. You can share your struggles, celebrate your progress, and encourage each other when things get hard.
So where can someone find this kind of community?
There are many online groups, language learning apps with community features, or even local language exchange meetups.
And if you can't find a community, you can always create one by connecting with other learners online.
Yes, and even just having one study partner can make a huge difference. You're not alone in this journey.
That's really encouraging. Now, I want to ask you about something else. What should someone do when they feel stuck and don't know how to move forward?
That's a great question. When you feel stuck, the first thing to do is take a step back and ask yourself what exactly is making you feel this way.
So instead of just saying, I'm stuck, you try to identify the specific problem.
Exactly. Maybe you're stuck with grammar, or maybe listening is hard, or maybe speaking makes you nervous. Once you know the specific problem, you can find a specific solution.
That makes sense. So if listening is hard, you can focus more on listening practice instead of trying to do everything at once.
Yes, and sometimes feeling stuck just means you need to try a different method. If one way isn't working, there are many other ways to learn.
So being flexible and willing to experiment is important.
Absolutely. There's no single right way to learn English. You have to find what works best for you.
And that takes time and trial and error, which is completely normal.
Yes, and during that process, it's okay to feel confused or frustrated. Those feelings don't mean you should quit. They just mean you're in the middle of figuring things out.
I like that perspective. Now, let's talk about mistakes. How should someone think about mistakes when they're learning English?
Mistakes are not your enemy, Ryan. They're actually your teacher.
Can you explain what you mean?
Sure. Every time you make a mistake, your brain is learning what doesn't work, and that helps you get closer to what does work.
So mistakes are actually a sign that you're trying and learning, not a sign that you're failing.
Exactly. If you never make mistakes, it means you're not challenging yourself enough.
That's such an important mindset shift. So instead of being afraid of mistakes, we should welcome them as part of the process.
Yes, and when you stop being afraid of mistakes, you become more confident and willing to practice, which leads to faster improvement.
So fear of mistakes actually slows you down, but accepting mistakes speeds you up.
Exactly. And remember, even native English speakers make mistakes all the time. It's a normal part of using any language.
That's really reassuring to hear. Now I want to talk about something that many learners struggle with, which is motivation. How do you keep your motivation alive for months or years?
Motivation naturally goes up and down, Ryan. Some days you'll feel excited, and other days you won't feel like studying at all.
So what should someone do on those days when motivation is low?
On those days, you rely on discipline, not motivation. Discipline means doing something even when you don't feel like it.
So you study for just 10 minutes, even if you're tired or not in the mood.
Exactly. And often once you start, you'll find that it's not as hard as you thought, and you might even enjoy it.
So the hardest part is just starting, and discipline helps you push through that moment.
Yes, and over time, discipline builds habits, and habits don't require motivation at all. They just happen automatically.
So the goal is to make English practice a habit, not something that depends on how you feel.
Exactly. And another way to keep motivation alive is to set small, achievable goals instead of one giant goal.
What do you mean by that?
Instead of saying, I want to be fluent, which feels overwhelming, you can say, I want to learn 20 new words this week, or I want to watch one English video every day.
So you break the big goal into smaller steps that feel possible.
Yes, and every time you achieve one of those small goals, you feel proud and motivated to keep going.
That's a smart strategy. Small wins create momentum.
Exactly. And momentum is what keeps you moving forward, even when things get tough.
Now, let's talk about something that might surprise people. What if taking a break is actually helpful?
That's a great point, Ryan. Sometimes when you're feeling burned out or frustrated, the best thing you can do is take a short break.
But won't that make you lose progress?
Not if the break is short and intentional. A few days or even a week off can help you rest, reset, and come back with fresh energy.
So it's better to take a break and come back strong than to push yourself until you completely give up.
Exactly. Rest is not quitting, it's recharging. And when you come back, you'll often feel more motivated and focused.
That's really important for people to hear, especially those who think they have to study every single day without exception.
Yes, balance is key. Learning English is a marathon, not a sprint, so you need to pace yourself.
Now I want to ask you about something practical. What are some signs that someone is actually improving even if they don't realize it?
Great question. One sign is that you start understanding more without translating in your head first.
So instead of hearing a sentence, translating it to your native language and then understanding it, you just understand it directly.
Exactly. That's a huge sign of progress, even if you don't notice it happening.
What's another sign?
Another sign is that you start thinking in English sometimes, even just simple thoughts like, what should I eat? Or I need to go to the store.
So your brain is starting to use English naturally without effort.
Yes, and that's a very strong sign that the language is becoming part of you.
What about speaking? What's a sign of progress there?
One sign is that you can speak for longer without stopping or getting stuck. Maybe before you could only say 2 sentences, but now you can say 5 or 6.
So fluency is increasing even if you're not perfect yet.
Exactly. And another sign is that you're making different kinds of mistakes. If you used to make basic grammar mistakes, but now you make more advanced mistakes, that means you're learning harder things.
That's such an interesting way to look at mistakes. So even your mistakes show progress.
Yes, because they show you're attempting more complex language, which is a sign you're growing.
Now let's talk about something that I think is really important. How do you deal with other people's opinions when you're learning English?
That's a sensitive topic, Ryan. Sometimes people around you might not understand why you're working so hard, or they might make discouraging comments.
Like saying you're wasting your time or that you'll never be fluent.
Exactly. And those comments can hurt, especially when you're already feeling unsure about yourself.
So what should someone do when they hear those kinds of things?
First, remember that other people's opinions are based on their own fears and limitations, not on your potential.
So when someone says you can't do it, they're really saying they couldn't do it or they're afraid to try.
Exactly. And second, you need to protect your dream. Surround yourself with people who support you, and distance yourself from people who bring you down.
That's powerful advice. Your environment really affects your success.
Yes, and if you can't find supportive people in your life, you can find them online in communities or through podcasts like this one.
That's true. You don't have to let negative people stop you from reaching your goals.
No, you don't. And remember, the best response to doubt is action. Keep studying, keep improving, and let your progress speak for itself.
I love that. Actions speak louder than words.
Exactly. Now, let's talk about something else. What role does belief play in not giving up?
I think belief is everything. If you don't believe you can learn English, you won't keep trying when things get hard.
That's true. Belief is the foundation. But belief doesn't mean being unrealistic or thinking you'll become fluent overnight.
Right. It means trusting that if you keep showing up and doing the work, you will improve over time.
Exactly. It's a quiet, steady belief that says, I don't know how long this will take, but I know I can do it.
And that belief keeps you going, even when you don't see results right away.
Yes, and the interesting thing is that belief grows stronger as you practice. Every small win makes you believe a little more.
So belief and action work together. You start with a little belief, you take action, you see progress, and your belief grows stronger.
Exactly. It's a positive cycle that builds over time.
Now I want to talk about something that many learners experience, which is the feeling of being overwhelmed. How do you deal with that?
Being overwhelmed usually happens when you try to do too much at once. You want to improve your speaking, listening, reading, writing, grammar, and vocabulary all at the same time.
And that feels impossible because it is too much.
Exactly. So the solution is to focus on one thing at a time. Choose one skill or one area and work on that for a few weeks.
So if you want to improve listening, you spend most of your time on listening practice and you don't worry about the other skills for now.
Yes, and once you feel more confident with listening, you can shift your focus to something else.
That makes the process feel much more manageable.
Exactly. And remember, all the skills are connected. When you improve one skill, the others naturally improve too.
So you don't have to practice everything equally all the time.
No, you don't. And trying to do that will just make you tired and frustrated.
Now let's talk about something really important, which is celebrating your progress. Why is that necessary?
Celebrating your progress is necessary because it trains your brain to associate learning with positive feelings.
So instead of learning feeling like a struggle, it starts to feel like something good.
Exactly. And when something feels good, you naturally want to do more of it.
So how should someone celebrate their progress?
It doesn't have to be big. You can write down your wins in a journal, or tell a friend, or just take a moment to feel proud of yourself.
So it's about acknowledging what you've achieved, no matter how small.
Yes, and doing this regularly helps you stay positive and motivated.
That's such a simple but powerful practice. I think a lot of people skip this step and only focus on what they still need to do.
Yes, and that's why they feel tired and discouraged. Celebrating progress reminds you that you're moving forward.
Now I want to ask you something that's really practical. What should someone do if they've already given up, but they want to start again?
That's a wonderful question, Ryan. First, let go of any guilt or shame about giving up before.
Why is that important?
Because guilt and shame make you feel bad about yourself, and that makes it harder to start again. You need to forgive yourself and understand that giving up was just part of your journey.
So there's no judgment, just acceptance of what happened.
Exactly. And second, start small. Don't try to do everything at once. Just do 5 or 10 minutes a day to rebuild the habit.
So you're not trying to make up for lost time, you're just focusing on today.
Yes, because trying to do too much will overwhelm you again, and you might quit again.
That makes sense. So slow and steady is better than fast and unsustainable.
Exactly. And third, remind yourself why you want to learn English. Reconnect with that reason and let it guide you forward.
So you're starting fresh with a clear purpose.
Yes, and this time you have more wisdom because you've learned from your past experience.
That's a really hopeful way to think about it. Every attempt teaches you something.
Exactly. So if you've given up before, it doesn't mean you failed. It just means you're learning how to succeed.
Now let's talk about the bigger picture. Why is not giving up on English so important for someone's life?
Because learning English is not just about the language, Ryan. It's about building character, discipline, patience, and resilience.
So the skills you develop while learning English help you in every other area of life.
Exactly. When you learn to push through difficulty, stay consistent, and believe in yourself, those qualities stay with you forever.
So even if someone never becomes perfectly fluent, the person they become through the process is more valuable than the language itself.
That's beautifully said. And also, learning English opens doors. It gives you access to opportunities, connections, and experiences you wouldn't have otherwise.
So giving up on English might mean giving up on those opportunities too.
Yes, and that's why it's so important to keep going, even when it's hard.
I think what we've talked about today can really help someone who's struggling. Let's bring this all together.
Yes, so to summarize, don't give up on English because progress takes time, and time is something you have.
And remember that small, consistent steps are more powerful than big, occasional efforts.
Exactly. Be patient with yourself, celebrate your progress, and focus on your own journey instead of comparing yourself to others.
And when things get hard, remember why you started and let that reason carry you forward.
Yes, and don't be afraid to take breaks, ask for help, or try new methods. Flexibility and self-compassion are your friends.
And most importantly, believe that you can do this because you absolutely can.
Yes, every person who speaks English today was once a beginner just like you. They didn't give up, and you don't have to either.
This has been such an important and encouraging conversation. I really hope our listeners feel inspired to keep going.
Me too, Ryan. And to everyone listening, remember that we believe in you, and we're here to support you on this journey.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for being here with us today. We're so grateful for each and every one of you.
Yes, thank you. And before we go, we want to invite you to explore other episodes on the Easy English Talk podcast. We have so many helpful conversations on different topics that can support your learning and your personal growth.
Yes, there's something for everyone. So take a look and find an episode that speaks to you. We'll see you in the next one. Take care.
Take care, everyone. Keep going and don't give up. We're cheering for you.